Are we seriously sitting here watching this toxic, unadulterated nightmare unfold? Yes, again. I want every single person watching this video right now to clear their schedule, turn up their volume, and mentally prepare themselves, because what we just witnessed on the Indiana Fever sideline was not a standard coaching disagreement. It was not a passionate basketball debate between a mentor and her student. What we saw was a live national television broadcast of a complete psychological crashout. We saw Stephanie White completely lose her mind, screaming and yelling directly into the face of her generational superstar player, right on the bench for the entire world to see. This was bad. This was undeniably historically bad. Stephanie White was actively, publicly, and aggressively trying to humiliate and show up the single most important basketball player on the face of the planet. But the absolute breaking point, the moment that proves this coaching relationship is entirely dead and buried, happened right after the yelling match. Stephanie White looked at Caitlin Clark, told her to get the hell out of her face, and benched her, sending Raven Johnson onto the floor to take her spot while Caitlin sat back down, shaking her head in total, absolute disbelief. A line has been crossed tonight. The damage to this franchise is entirely, 100% irreversible. We were sold a massive, beautiful bill of goods when this organization hired Stephanie White. We were sold hope, but in return, all we are getting is absolute nope.
Let's get right into it, shall we? Like the video, hype the video, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and subscribe to the channel. That would mean so much to me. Here we have Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark on the bench yelling at each other. Talking about some defensive nonsense. My hands are straight up. I'm going straight up. Hey, you, sit down, take your seat. Caitlin, get your ass up. Caitlin shaking her head. Nope. This coach is an idiot. Nope. This coach is a dumbass. Nope. This coach is foolish. Nope. She's got no idea what she's talking about.
Look closely at that footage on your screens right now. Look at the utter vitriol and the aggressive posture coming from Stephanie White on that bench. They are bumping heads over some defensive nonsense, with Stephanie screaming about rotations, while Caitlin Clark is clearly firing back, telling her, "My hands are straight up. I am going straight up. What else do you want me to do?" But Stephanie White did not want to hear the truth. She wanted an excuse to exert power. She wanted to humble a once-in-a-lifetime icon. A lot of casual mainstream media commentators are going to look at this footage and try to brush it under the rug. They are going to tell you that this happens all the time in professional sports. They will try to compare this toxic blowout to the legendary hard coaching shouting matches between Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. But let us completely destroy that false narrative right here and right now, because that comparison is an absolute joke.
All the time. No, this doesn't happen all the time. But let's take a look. Difference between this and a Tom Brady and Bill Belichick going at it. 1, Bill is a legend. Stephanie White is a slouch. 2, it was never a question whether Bill respected Tom or not. Everyone knew he did. Not the case here. I don't care how many hugs these two have. I don't care how many hugs they have. I don't care how many times Stephanie White pulls Caitlin Clark close by her hip. I don't care how many glowingly things Stephanie White says about Caitlin Clark.
There are two massive, undeniable differences here. Number 1, Bill Belichick is an undisputed multi-time championship legend, and Stephanie White is a complete, unmitigated coaching slouch. Number 2, it was never ever a question in the New England locker room whether Bill Belichick respected Tom Brady. Everyone on earth knew he did. That is absolutely not the case here in Indiana. I do not care how many fake, engineered hugs these two share for the marketing cameras. I do not care how many times Stephanie White pulls Caitlin Clark close to her hip or says glowingly positive things about her during scheduled radio interviews. You cannot look at the data, you cannot look at the tape, and convince me that Stephanie White actually respects Caitlin Clark. This is not hard coaching. This is pure, unadulterated, deep-seated jealousy. When Stephanie White looks at Caitlin Clark, she does not see a player she wants to elevate. She hates everything about her because Caitlin Clark is everything that Stephanie White completely failed to become during her own basketball career.
Caitlin Clark, and she hates everything about her. Why? Because Caitlin Clark is everything Stephanie White failed to become. Caitlin Clark is everything Stephanie White failed to become. She sees Caitlin Clark and she sees herself. but not as a success story. She sees herself as a failure. Like, damn, that could have been me. No, it couldn't have been you. You were regular, schmegular, degular. So what? You were good in high school. Who gives a rat's ass?
Stephanie White looks at number 22, and she sees her own professional failure. She sees the global phenomenon, the sold-out arenas, the historic economic impact, and she projects her own deep insecurities onto her star player. She thinks she is hot shit because she was crowned Miss Indiana basketball back in high school, but on the professional stage, she was regular, ordinary, and completely unmemorable. She looks at Caitlyn's historical trajectory and thinks, that should have been me, and because it never was, she has made it her personal mission to diminish, tear down, and ruin the golden goose of this franchise. And this psychological toxicity is completely rotting the locker room from the inside out. With the New England Patriots, no one ever questioned whether the coach thought they were better off without Brady. But I guarantee you right now, if you took a secret anonymous poll in the Indiana Fever locker room, the results would be completely split. Half the players in that room genuinely believe that Stephanie White prefers to play without Caitlin Clark. They believe the coach honestly thinks they are a better, faster defensive and offensive unit when their franchise player is sitting on the bench. Let us look at the massive, disgusting hypocrisy of how Stephanie White holds this roster accountable. She screams at Caitlin Clark, embarrasses her in front of millions of viewers, and benches her for making a defensive mistake. She pulls her out of the game to put in Raven Johnson, the supposed defensive specialist. And what happens the exact second Raven Johnson steps onto the hardwood?
Cece said, babes, I'm going straight up. What else do you want me to do? Steph White said, fuck out my face. I'm putting Raven Johnson in. 22 gets up, Raven sits down, and then what happens? Raven fouls out in 10 minutes of playtime. So what, Raven Johnson can't play defense either now, Stephanie? Metheny, Twitch, Richardson, Arms Cross McGee. Raven Johnson can't play now? Or you can't coach properly? You can't coach properly. Brianne January can't.
Raven Johnson proceeds to completely, utterly foul out of the basketball game in just 10 minutes of playing time. She was committing turnovers, blowing assignments, and fouling out in 10 minutes. But did Stephanie White scream at Raven Johnson on the bench? Did she throw a clipboard at her feet? Did she humiliate her in front of the cameras? Not a single peep. Stephanie White refuses to hold anyone else on this roster accountable. Bill Belichick would lay everyone out equally, from Julian Edelman to Rob Gronkowski. But Stephanie White never says a word to Aaliyah Boston when she is airballing layups and getting completely dominated inside. She never holds Kelsey Mitchell accountable for playing completely selfish, ball-hogging basketball and driving blindly into triple teams. The only player who is subjected to this toxic, aggressive double standard is Caitlin Clark. And if you want to know the absolute most delusional, terrifying piece of information to come out of this entire disaster, look at what Stephanie White is actually telling people behind closed doors.
Listen to this shit. I thought Fever FC was trolling, but now I generally think Stephanie White might prefer Raven Johnson as her PG1 over Caitlin Clark. Stephanie White told me we play faster when she's the... Listen to this nonsense.
White told us coming off her season best last game that she's playing with more aggression. She's not afraid to get into the paint, to play physical, and to score the basketball. And I think what I liked most about what Steph White said when Raven Johnson's in the game, that the face of the team picks up, that Raven Johnson...
There are legitimate reports that Stephanie White has told people she genuinely believes this team plays faster and better with Raven Johnson at the point guard position over Caitlin Clark. She actually prefers a backup rotation over a generational playmaker. This is not a coaching philosophy. It is a clinical delusion. It proves that she is actively trying to suppress Caitlin's game to validate her own backward, archaic basketball ideas. And the absolute most beautiful part of this entire nightmare is that Caitlin Clark is completely done staying quiet. She walked up to that post-game podium after the blowout loss, and she delivered a cold, calculated line that exposed her head coach completely. When a reporter asked her if the officiating rule changes were the primary reason the team was struggling defensively, Caitlin did not blame the refs. She looked right at the microphone and said, "Officiating wasn't my problem tonight." She let the entire world know that the referees were not the reason she was out of sync. She let everyone know that the 5 fouls were not the issue. The problem was the woman sitting on the sideline throwing clipboards, running 0 offensive sets, and pulling her out of the game every 3 minutes.
Again, look at this face. This isn't I'm hard coaching. This is hate. Again, I don't give a damn how many hugs these two have. I don't care if Stephanie White's grabbing her ass, because you know Stephanie White wants to. I don't give a damn about any of that. This is hate. This isn't getting coached hard. This is, damn, I hate her. I hate her. I hate her. That's what this is. Get the fuck up. Raven Johnson, sit down.
Just look at Stephanie White's face during these interactions. Look at the pure animosity. This is an absolute tragedy unfolding in real time. The Indiana Fever are sitting at an even 4-4 record, completely stagnant, with zero identity, and they just allowed an expansion team to drop 100 points on them. This entire organization is a laughingstock from the top down. Lynn Dunn needs to go, Amber Cox needs to go, Kelly Krauskopf needs to go, and Stephanie White needs to be fired before the sun comes up tomorrow morning. At this point, Caitlin Clark needs to save herself. She needs to call her representation right now and demand an immediate trade out of this garbage franchise. Do not sign a single endorsement deal tied to this team. Do not sign a contract extension. Do not sign a single piece of paper until they completely clean house. She needs to pull a DeWanna Bonner and refuse to show up to work until she is sent to an organization that actually deserves her talent. Send her to Toronto to play for Sandy Brondello. Send her anywhere but here. I am completely done rooting for the Indiana Fever to win games as long as this bum is holding the clipboard. Next week, they face the Atlanta Dream, and I am officially actively rooting for Angel Reese and the Dream to absolutely destroy them. I want them to lose so badly that the ownership group is forced to fire this entire coaching staff immediately. Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Is Stephanie White actively jealous of Caitlin Clark, and should Caitlin demand a trade immediately? Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell. This is WNBA time.